What is going on, guys? Jack here and welcome to another episode of Real Team Tactics, the series in which I show you the tactics that real teams use in their footballing, play, and replicate them in Football Manager and share them with you guys for you guys to try out. So last episode we covered Arsenal. If you missed that, there will be a link in the description to go check that out on a playlist. But today, I'm going to be covering Aston Villa. Aston Villa are a funny one when it comes to tactics because they've actually changed their tactics so much over the course of this season. They've really struggled. You may remember them getting results at like Liverpool and using a 5-3-2 and winning, I think it was 2-0 or 3-0 against Liverpool. And then the very next game they used the same tactic against Chelsea and got absolutely twatted 8-0 or 9-0. So with Aston Villa, it was a tricky one. The formation I've gone for is actually the one that they've used most recently at the time of recording this, which has seen them get results at QPR amongst a few other teams. So let's crack on straight into this. It's fairly standard back four, to be honest. We've got Guzan in goal, Clark and Villar going to both be playing as defensive centre backs, and then Baker and Lowton on each wing. They've got a tiny bit of mentality change. This formation is a little bit about the counter-attack and exploiting the flanks with our pacing Agbonlahor, and then I guess some technical ability with Weimann. So both fullbacks have slightly more defensive mentality than they do by default. Just personal preference there, but that's the back four. Fairly standard, just a really defensive, solid back four. We then have Westwood playing as the centre defensive mid. Again, his mentality has been turned quite a lot down. I mean, if I show you that, you could see how much that changed there. The reason for that is the default centre mid on defence isn't really that good. At being a defensive player, I prefer to have mine slightly more defensively. So having Westwood at centre mid here and having his defensively kind of mentality like this makes him slightly more like an anchorman without being sat right in front of the back four. Accompanying him in the centre of midfield, we have Banan, who is going to be, I guess, going with the box-to-box midfielder. His mentality is the same. I don't know why that's ticked. Just a traditional box-to-box midfielder. Just going to fill in this gap here in the centre at times. And I guess supporting in the attack. We then have Cilia playing at right centre mid. He is just a ball-winning midfielder, fairly standard defensive mentality. Him and Westwood trying to pick up the ball in the centre and then kickstart any attack with the through balls and balls through to the centre. That should be through balls on sometimes. Why have you done that wrong, Jack? But anyway, moving on to the, I guess, top three. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. We have Agbonlahor first and foremost, playing at left attacking mid, inside forward. So his main role is to sit on the wing but then cut inside and almost create a front three at times with him and Weimann coming in from each flank. And this is one thing I would like to stress. A lot of people I see complain about, oh, it's so annoying that I can't set a formation for when we're in possession of a ball and a possession for when we don't have the ball. The way that I like to see things is you've got to imagine that your mentality your mentality plays a big role in this. So for example, Agbonlahor here is on attack. So the way I envisage this is when he gets the ball, when we don't have the ball, he sits in this area here, fairly high up the pitch but on the wing. And then when he gets the ball, his attacking mentality really kicks into effect, and combined with his wide play to cut inside, he's going to be cutting into this position here near enough. So anyway, that's just a quick addressing of that. Another thing, just quickly, cross aim is set to target man Benteke, big target man at the top. This formation works well if you've got a player with really good physical stats and really good aerial stats, such as Benteke. Fine example of that kind of player. So we've got Agbonlahor and then Weimann on each wing. Both players fairly well suited to this. Weimann doesn't have as much in terms of his crossing and dribbling. But I guess as an inside forward, that isn't too much of a worry, as a lot of the time he is just going to be cutting inside and giving some support. And then we have Benteke here playing as the big target man. As the team instructions, playing rigid, this basically means the defensive players will stick to defending and the attacking players will stick to attacking, essentially. Just means they don't play too fluidly, they don't change how I've set them to play, and they'll abide by my instructions. Strategically, we are playing on counter. Again, really solid defensive kind of unit with this back 7 and even Weimann and Bonglahor if you want to change them to support, which I may suggest doing against stronger opposition. But this really gives you a good kind of solid base to start any counter attack, especially with the pace in Bonglahor. He can be really good for when playing on the counter. As a playing style, all are pretty standard. Marking is set to man marking, crossing is set to float. This means they aim for the back post. I don't know, that seems to always work better for me, floating crosses when you have a target man who's good in the air. Defensive line, not too deep. I mean, you could set this slightly more deep perhaps against stronger opposition, however, pretty standard for that. Width, playing pretty wide because we have got a Bonglahor and Weimann we really want to use in the game. They are two very important players of this formation. I guess this formation really relies on an attacking trio doing a good job and playing well, so that's them there. And then focusing passing down both flanks, you know, hitting a Bonglahor and Weimann, as I've already said. Target man is Benteke. There's no real playmaker in this team because when you're playing on the counter, a lot of it is about getting the ball up and fast. And so by playing the counter attack and then having a playmaker, it kind of defeats the object of playing counter and getting men behind the ball, because very often your playmaker will be back in support and in your own half a lot of the time. One exception I can think of this is if you're playing a centre attack in mid, but again, this formation doesn't use it, and that's what this formation, I guess, is for, so that is why that is like that. But anyway guys, this was Aston Villa. Download link as always is down below. Let me know how you get on trying this formation. If you've got any opinions on how I could improve this formation, or if you're a Villa fan and you have, I guess, a different perspective on your formation, let me know in the comments. I'm always interested to hear your feedback, guys. And other than that, I'll talk to you in a bit. It's me, Jack, and I'm out.